More Browns breaking news. So let me do a read. Let's hop right into
it.
We legit actually have some breaking news here. Another offensive coordinator candidate in Berea today for an interview. I'll tell you who it is after a quick word from FanDuel. But the NFL regular season is wrapped up. Still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when they place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets. Win or lose, the best part about FanDuel is the app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, including live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the Explorer tab. You can make parlays in the new Parlay Hub, which is the best and easiest way to find popular parlays, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. I'll show you guys a winning ticket later in the show, but we have breaking news here. Mary Kay just tweeted 1 second ago, Kellen Moore in Berea for an offensive coordinator interview today, as well as Brian Johnson, the former Eagles offensive coordinator who was fired.
Mike, Tom Pelissero had that first. Mary Kay even put that in the tweet.
No,
on Kellen Moore.
Yeah, Kellen
Moore, but he is in Berea for an interview today.
Yeah.
As is Brian Johnson.
Excites me.
Mm-hmm. Former
Those
Dallas
two names.
Cowboys.
Thoughts on Kellen Moore, Brian Johnson?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wasn't Kellen Moore with the Chargers this past year?
Most recently, I think he was. He was with the Cowboys.
He had with Cowboys
prior to that.
Before. I mean,
wasn't he Boise State?
Yeah, he was
Boise State quarterback.
Lefty.
Then he was the Cowboys offensive coordinator
Mm-hmm.
until last season. They let him go. He went to the Chargers. Right. Was the Chargers offensive
I don't
coordinator.
know. All I'll say about that is the Chargers had their worst season. I'm not saying it's his fault necessarily. They had their worst season. And the Cowboys had their Dak Prescott had his best season this year.
How much do we give
Mike McCarthy calls the plays.
Did he when
I'm not sure he did when Kellen Moore
was the play caller.
I have a vague remembrance of Kellen Moore calling plays.
Yeah, now he does.
I'm talking about now.
Yeah, now he does.
See, that's the hard part about it, man. I can't really get into it. I can't really just jump off the roof because I don't know what's going on with these play calling. Like, I don't, until I see who it is, because you know what we're going to naturally do. If it's a guy that we don't really know much about and he really ain't no big name, we're like, no, Stefanski's still calling the plays.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to talk about that later in the show. Will he? Should he?
Well, we should just get to it now. No, Mike?
I mean,
real quick.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson, let's talk. He's in for an interview.
Yeah.
They've already completed all their. They've completed the Rooney Rule requirements, so they're allowed to offer any candidate at any time. Brian Johnson, Eagles fans were thrilled that he was let go. Steve Becker, our EP, was doing dances. He was doing the Irish jig allegedly as soon as they let him go. Does he excite you as an offensive coordinator candidate potentially? Then we'll talk Kellen Moore real quick. Then we'll talk about Stefanski calling plays because it all goes hand in hand.
Jay, what do you?
They've covered the gamut on these guys, right? Like they've really spread a wide net, which you want to do in this instance. You want to talk to a bunch of different people, as many people as possible, steal ideas from whoever. The Johnson thing, I mean, he's been up for head coaching interviews in this cycle. He interviewed with the Titans and the Falcons, I think.
I always wondered though, is he just the Rooney Rule requirement?
I know. It's so disappointing.
You don't know who is being used to check that box and who is a legitimate candidate. For years, that was Eric Bieniemy.
I know. Ultimately, it's a good thing because your name's out there, right?
Sure.
Ultimately, but it is unfortunate that we have to say, well, are they just out there to check the box, or are they a legitimate candidate?
Right.
That's frustrating to say, but I mean, he's a big name. If he's a big enough name to be getting head coaching interviews,
what's your intel from why things got so far off the rails in Philly, and what role do you think he played in it?
I mean, they were rolling this year. It was popping, and then the whole thing unraveled, and clearly.
To me, though, that was with the DC change. To me, that's when the wheels fell off the bus.
They've cleaned house with all their coordinators now.
Their offense was a disaster in the playoffs. In that playoff game.
Well, the team at that point, I thought the cancer infested the whole body.
They were a disaster.
But to me, the start of it was the defense.
Can I throw this out there? Maybe we anointed Jalen Hurts a little too early. I mean, I like Jalen Hurts, but let's not act like he has these same problems dating back to college. Like, he can throw the football, but he's not deadly accurate. You're not going to give Jalen Hurts the football and be like, oh, my goodness, it's 80 yards to go, and he got to lead him down the field. Like, I just don't know if Jalen Hurts is that dude. Like,
well, it goes to the whole talk about we anoint people all
real quick.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, even with C.J. Stroud, as great as he was, he's got to do it again.
Right. It wouldn't be unprecedented if C.J. took the route of Tua and Jalen, because I thought Tua was anointed too soon.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think we've got to see it. You always say you want to see it a second year.
Yeah,
Hell,
at least.
3 years is better. Like when you see it with 3 years with Herbert, you're like, okay.
I think when you get to 2, you know. I think when
you can do it with 2. I was with Burrow. I was there probably even before 2.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is
Mahomes.
another one. We gave Trevor Lawrence.
Yes,
that's
Trevor
true.
Lawrence.
I've never been as high
I'm
on
like,
him as everybody
man,
else
is he gonna be that good?
Yeah.
I don't see it. It's just, and it looks like he had a good year. He took a little bit of a step back, maybe some injuries involved, and then you throw that in the mix and you have a bad season.
And part of that, G, is Shane Steichen, who we just saw in Indianapolis get the most out of Gardner Minshew in a way we didn't expect. Was calling plays for Jalen Hurts last season. He goes, you lose your, I don't want to call him a superstar coach, but he was, as a rookie coach, did a phenomenal job in Indianapolis.
Yeah, he did.
They go
It
to
wasn't
Brian
like Hurts
Johnson,
had a terrible
and the whole
year,
offense
though.
It wasn't
takes a step
No,
back.
but there
He
was
just wasn't as good.
There was a drop.
There was regression.
Yeah,
there was
for sure.
regression.
And you know what? It's I think that's becoming more the rule. The guy like the Mahomes and the Burrow who really didn't have that.
Yeah,
Everybody else has that at some point because the league is reacting to what it is that you're doing.
Well, look at Lamar won an MVP, and then the last 2 years
Fell off.
Part of it because of injury, but
Yeah.
he wasn't playing as well.
He was not.
Even when he was healthy, he wasn't as good, and now he's back to looking like one of the best quarterbacks of football.
I
gonna
think
take
he's
a pack.
looking better now than he ever has.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a pact to say, listen, I'm not. You know who's good? Patrick Mahomes. Everybody else.
I mean, he's in a class by
like
himself. That's true.
I'm gonna just stop.
Well, 6 straight
doubting
AFC
and-
Championship games.
Yeah,
like
You can't. He's in tier 1 by himself.
I agree with that.
Whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Don't-
there's
and-
nobody in
And
his
then
class.
there's Burrow and
And
there's
Allen
some other
and-
Allen,
yeah, some of the
probably
other guys.
Herbert with the right. Who knows what Harbaugh's going to do there now? But
Yeah.
I think they're going to have the biggest
I think they're gonna.
year-in jump
Yes.
in wins.
We'll
See,
see.
See, we got
There can be no more excuses for Herbert after this
The
year.
roster is there,
We
and now
better-
the coach is
Hey,
there.
see, this is what happens, Cleveland Browns. All of a sudden, you got Harbaugh in your division. The team got a roster full of guys. They got pieces. We talked about it with Sean Marion yesterday.
Just a conference.
Same conference. And look, now you got more teams to compete with. Oh, by the way, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. So I don't know how they're going to be.
And Burrow's going to be healthy.
Burrow's going to be healthy. Lamar Jackson is former MVP.
Well, you hope all these guys are healthy. Obviously, there's no guarantee, but at least going into the season, you think.
I do want to say the Eagles have also requested permission to interview Kellen Moore. So not just the
interesting.
Browns, but the Eagles, who just fired Brian Johnson, are now looking to bring in Kellen Moore.
There's a lot of moving
got
parts
fired?
right now because so many teams are looking for coordinators.
What is it? 9? Is it 8, 9? What's
No,
it?
it's 13, 14.
The Bengals just hired a coordinator. They
Oh,
promoted
yes,
their
take
quarterback
them
coach.
off. It's a dozen. It's a dozen right now.
It's
Who the
higher than
Bengals
five.
hired?
And the
Their
head coaching
quarterback
jobs
coach,
that are
Dan
still open.
Pitcher.
Dan Pitcher?
Dan Pitcher. He was their quarterback coach the last
What do you
2
know
years.
about him? What should we know about him?
I know that Joe Burrow loves him, so that's
That's why he got the job.
That's it.
All right, well,
Joe Burrow had a
forget it.
quote yesterday. They couldn't have picked a better. It would be impossible to pick a better guy.
All right,
Interesting.
well, they're going to be a good then, whatever. I was going to try to nitpick, and Joe Burrow likes him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So are we? If we had to go right now,
Yeah.
just based on the limited knowledge that we have with Johnson, are we
Yeah.
thumbs up or thumbs down on Johnson?
I mean, overall, when he was there, yes, everything fell apart on that team at the end of the year. I'm blaming Sirianni for that. I know he's been able to blame the coaches. He threw Brian Johnson right under the bus.
I know he did.
Talk about
Yeah.
Stump Mitchell. I mean, Sirianni threw his OC right under
I think
the bus.
Sirianni's on his last leg there.
Oh, he is.
yeah.
I mean, when you fire both your coordinators,
It's all on you now.
it's all on you now.
Wasn't he coach of the year last year,
It
Sirianni?
was. Dude, no. Yeah, last
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Not
He went
23.
from coach of the year to maybe he's on the hot seat now.
Does
It's not the first time we've
Happens
seen
quick.
that.
That is-
Yeah, life comes at you fast in the NFL.
And here's
Yeah.
what I give Stefanski credit for over some of these other dudes. You don't see Stefanski. I got a lot of respect for him for this. We talked about it a little bit after the show. I was banging on the drum to get rid of your boy, we'll say Joe Woods, the second he almost when he got here. We was talking about him after the Browns played the Chiefs. And we're like, how do you let them the 3rd and 14th with Chad Henne? How do you let that happen? But I'll give Stefanski credit. You know what he did? He said, look, I know he might not be the coach what we need to do right now at this point, but he let him finish the season. He didn't fire him in the season because he knows that isn't proper etiquette. And it lights people up to say, you know what? It's a dumpster fire over there. Because why are you firing guys in the middle of the season? That means you made a bad decision. What he did, let him finish it out, gave him never said anything bad about him, and then went on and hired somebody